Hello and welcome to Stitched from my stash. My name is Julie and I'm coming to you from just north of Glasgow in the UK, and my vlog is generally about sewing, knitting, patchwork and quilting, and I try and use as far as possible fabric and yarn haberdashery from my stash. I'm not saying I would never buy any more fabric or yarn. Of course I would buy fabric if I wanted it, but I am really trying to be creative and trying to use up what I have. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting. It's good to have your company and to know what you're up to, where you are in the world. I have got a cup of tea here. It's sort of mid-morning up here in Scotland and it's a lovely sunny day, but this room isn't great for the windows are in a funny place. So excuse me while I have a sip and then we'll crack on with today's video. Cheers. So today I have 3 finished items and a bit of chit chat about my plans and what I hope to do this week. And I have some new boots, so I'll be talking about them as well. Right, first of all, what I'm wearing is the Colourwork jumper I've been working on, which I finished perhaps Saturday, can't remember. Anyway, and I just blocked it with a really hot steam iron yesterday, so all the I don't know, the colourwork is a bit more settled. I think the sleeves are looking a bit puffy. This yarn is Aran, which is it is a wool yarn. It was gifted to me. It was I've said before, it was a big jumper that I undid. So it is quite a stiffish yarn, but those sleeves may settle down or not. I'm not bothered. I think it looks okay. So I said I was playing yarn chicken. So I did end up doing a little bit of colour work at the bottom. I added the pink and then a little bit of colour work with the cream, back to the pink and then the rib. Overall, I have, just looking in the little basket here, I have that much blue left. So I was not going to win the yarn chicken if I'd carried on with the blue. I did quite fancy having all of the bottom blue, but I knew, well, did I know? I worked out I should put a bit of colour work to ensure that the jumper was long enough. And thank you for commenting. Quite a few people said yes, put the colourwork band, and it does look effective. I think finishes it off okay. I like the fit, and it will be something to wear over a t-shirt. It feels okay on my neck at the moment, but I think it would be a little bit itchy if it was just next to your skin. So the pattern is a free download. I will write the name here and in the bottom. And it's a really nice pattern. I've done a little bit of colour work before. I've not done loads, but I do enjoy it. So I would recommend this pattern. What size did I do? I did the 3rd size. It starts, hang on. So I did the chest size 36, which is the 3rd size up. Now, I don't know if I'm perhaps a 38, not because I got big boobs, just because, I don't know, I'm a bit broad. I've not got big boobs at all, but I did the 3rd size up, and I do like the fit. There is a little bit of shaping here, but to be honest, I lost track where I was. I think I was knitting on the train or something, and I lost track. You decrease here and then you increase a little bit, but I did lose track, so it isn't quite to the pattern in that sense. But the colour work at the bottom has worked out, so I did have the right number of stitches. Not that I did a lot of calculation, it was just luck, to be honest. What else to say? This fabric, as I said, was gifted to me, and that's the original colour, which I've incorporated into the colour work here. I used Dylon, the one that you just put in the tub, and you do have to stir for about an hour in total. And this was a navy dye, obviously not navy, but I like the colour. And this was a red dye, I think it was tulip red, obviously not red, but I think the colours work really well, and I'm pleased with the combination, and I think it looks nice with jeans. I will add a video here of me modelling. As I said, it's a nice sunny day, so I did do some modelling outside, and it is a nice top, I think, to wear with jeans. I think I'm going to be wearing this quite a lot. It was cold up here last week, but it's not as cold now, so it might be too warm, to be honest, but it's going to be really useful when it does go back cold again. The needles were 4.5, but I did the neckband in the 4.5 needles because I read it's quite a popular pattern on Ravelry that some people said it was quite tight to get over their heads with the 3.5. So I did the neckband in 4.5 mil. And what else? So in the pattern, the neckband is moss stitch, but I changed that to 1x1 rib. Likewise, the cuff on the sleeve and the waistband, I did 1x1 rib. But I did do this ribbing and the bottom ribbing in using a 3.5 needle, so I did go down for those. Having said that, I did do the 4.5 on the bottom cuff, and so I undid it. I don't mind undoing it in generally. So I'm really pleased with this, and the pattern is a free download, and the top was the yarn was gifted, so I think the dyes are about £3.90 or £4 or something. So I think that's a good buy, and I think I'm really pleased with it. I'm glad it's finished, and yeah, but it's quite thick, so it does knit up fairly quickly. But it's made me think I want to do some more colour work, which I'll talk about a bit later. Anything else to say on this colour work cardi? Nope, don't think so. That's it. So that's my first finished item, which I'm wearing with some beads that a friend gifted me 3 years ago, and I thought it goes nice with the pink. So item number 1. Item number 2 finished item is 2 skirts using this pattern. I made the trousers, which I'm really pleased with. I haven't worn them out yet. I was debating, do I keep them for best, but I'll talk more about when I'm going to wear them perhaps a bit later. But I made those, and I thought I wanted to make a skirt. I bought these new boots on Tuesday. I'll talk about the boots. I bought the new boots on Tuesday, and I'm pleased with them because they've sort of opened up a few outfits that I really didn't have shoes to go with. So hence I've made the skirts to go with the boots and a lot of the tops that I have. And it's a dead easy. You could make that in an hour. Honestly, it's really straightforward. It uses sweatshirt fabric, which I've talked about a few times, that I have quite a lot of sweatshirt fabric left over from when I made sweat tops for my sons and my partner, and I've made a run of them over the years, and I'm perhaps not making them for a while now. So this sweatshirt fabric I bought at Abercarn in North Wales, and they sell it by the kilo, and I would go in when we lived in North Wales and really stock up, and they have them in these big crates, and you just take them down and they weigh them for you to see how much it's going to be. But I'd go in and grab loads because the Abercarn was about an hour from us. We lived up in the hills in Embroidery, Snowdonia, so it was quite a way for me to go to Abercarn. Anyway, I digress. So I thought these plain skirts would suit my sort of vibe at the minute, and easy to wear, and would go with the boots. So again, I'll do a little, I've done some modelling outside, which I'll add on here. But I've also got the skirts with me here. So I made a black one, which opens up some grey tops and some other colours I've got. So I'm pleased with the black one. Again, elasticated waist. This is a 16, but I think the waist, the hips fit me, but I think the waist is a bit large. So I've not so you might keep a slit in the seam, and I've not sewn. You can still see the pin that I've used to thread the elastic through. I think I can tighten the elastic a bit on that because my waist is slimmer proportion than my hip, whatever. So I'm pleased with that. And as you'll see in the video, I'm wearing the grey cardigan, which I'm going to lean over, that I made a couple of weeks ago, but I needed to shorten the sleeves. Now, I've taken 2 inches off these sleeves, and I think they are still a little bit too long. I'll come back to that in a moment. Let's talk about the skirt. So the black one made mainly on my overlocker using black thread. So the waistband I've attached, can't see black, it's not very good to film, is it? I've attached that there. The hem, and I've still got the basting stitches in here. The hem is done on the machine, standard sewing machine, and there's 2 on this one. I've done 2 rows of hemming, and as I said, really simple, and I'm pleased with that. The other one is a blue, and I made the waistband smaller on this one, so I still did the hips to the size 16, but I reduced the waistband slightly, so there was a little bit of easing to get the waistband onto the skirt pieces. And again, you just, a little bit of overlocker hasn't caught there, I'll have to hand stitch that. You it was quite thick, to be honest, once you have 4 layers, 5 layers. Anyway, again, there's a slit that you put your elastic through, and again, that will open up some outfits, some jumpers, a coat that I'll put the videos here of me modelling for winter outfits. Obviously, I think it'll go with this if I want to wear this with a skirt. So I'm pleased with that. Again, I haven't taken the basting out at the bottom. Not too much stretch in this, but it works fine. I'm not saying I could go running in it because it is almost like a pencil skirt. It's just a straight skirt. And what else to say? I didn't have much of this left, so I really had to eke out how I cut it. But that's another item that I'll wear, and the drawer where I've got these sweatshirt fabrics is getting a bit emptier, not totally empty, but a bit emptier. And to be honest, there's some bits in there, and when I can get my head around it, I will sort out, you know, cut the really slim bits off. So 2 skirts completed, which I think will get used because they're going to go with tops that I've made. So I'll talk now about the cardigan. I did unpick the cuffing, and I attached it using my standard machine, my standard sewing machine, not the overlocker. And to be honest, I think it's a bit neater. So if you don't have an overlocker, but you have a standard sewing machine that you can do an overcasting stitch, it'll be fine. And I think it is a bit of a neater finish. It's just I don't like to go too fast on the standard machine when I'm doing overlocking, in case the needle goes back and forth, in case you break the needle. But perhaps you're more confident than me. So attached there, partly because I didn't want to change the black thread on my overlocker, but also because for small bits, I think my machine is totally fine. So that goes with the black skirt. It'll also go with the blue skirt, and again, makes a few combinations of outfits. The cardigan is by Melly Sews. Again, I put the name here, and it's a free download if you sign up to her website newsletter or something. If you followed last week's video, was it last week's or the week before, I can't remember, I made the navy suit, which I made a little bit larger than this one, but this fits fine. This is the standard size that she has. I think is a small, but it fits fine. So that's my outfits chatted about. I know it's a sip of tea, excuse me. So the boots, I'm really pleased with these. I bought these in John Lewis in Glasgow, and I did buy a brown pair, and they were, I think, Gabor ones, and they had a 20% off, so they were about 130, I can't remember. And I would have bought the black in the Gabor, but they didn't have my size. I take a 6. Anyway, as I was trying the boots on and having the fella go and get lots of different boots, a woman and her daughter sat down and they were chatting to me, and she said, my daughter's just bought some boots off a discount stand right on the other side of the escalator. So I paid for my brown boots, and then I went over to the discount section, and these were there half price. So these were £47, I think, instead of 90 something, and they're leather, and they've got the chunky sole, which I wanted, and interestingly they're a size 5, and I thought they look a big 5. Now I do intend wearing these with dresses and skirts, hence my skirt making this week. So I'll be wearing them with thinnish tights, like not a thick woolly tight, but like a Marks and Spencer insulated thing. They are quite thin. So the 5 is totally fine on me. So really pleased with those. So if you go to John Lewis, I'm not a big shopper because I make lots of clothes, but I do, I do buy shoes and boots. And you wouldn't know this sale was there. So it's worth having a look. This was in the women's section. I don't know. I like the clothes in John Lewis. If I had a job where I needed smart clothes and I didn't sew and I could afford it, I would buy clothes in John Lewis. I like the John Lewis clothes. So anyway, the boots, which I'm pleased with, and I will not, no, I did go out Thursday and I went to a sports class, so I can't remember what I wore then. Didn't wear these. So these will be worn this week. The coats that I've got on in the video are from this pattern. I've shown the dress before, which I made for a wedding. The coats, this is suggesting a lightweight fabric, a linen or whatever. The black coat is, I think, is a cotton, again from Abercorn, which I haven't worn for a while because I didn't have the accessories. Now I've got the boots, that coat can be worn more, the black skirt and a variety of tops. So making up some more outfits. The pink and blue fabric is wool, and that was gifted to me years ago. And so I made that. I made them both. The blue and pink one perhaps coming up 6 years now, because I wore it to London on my 60th birthday, which is in January. No, I'm not 60 in January. I'm 66 in January. So it was my 60th birthday and we went to London, long weekend, which was lovely. So I did make that at least 5-6 years ago. And the black one I made afterwards, so perhaps 4 or 5 years ago. The pink and blue one I've worn loads. It's really comfy. The black one, not so much. So I will be wearing it now with my new boots. So that's the coat pattern. The t-shirt, which I have on, and which I have on with the black outfit, is one of my go-tos, this Burda pattern. And I've got it on now with, it's a, I think it's a cuffing fabric, really, if I stand up. So it is quite a nice fit, but I think it's a cuffing fabric, but I've made it into a t-shirt. The sun's gone behind the clouds, so it's going to be dark in here, sorry. So that's the outfits I've been modelling. Come on, sun, come back, otherwise I'm going to have to put the light on. And what else? So my plans, no, before I talk about plans, I'm going to talk about, I have joined an embroidery class at a college, and I wanted to show this. I haven't done much embroidery, but this is couching. So I'm really pleased with this. We do a different stitch every week. And this is couching. So you put your top fabric yarn and then you go over it with various size stitches. So I enjoyed that. And I think we're doing beading this week. What else? My plans. So I enjoyed the colour work. So I'm aiming, don't know if I'll get it done this week, to dye and do. I don't think I would dye it as a garment because I don't know if it would take properly, if you know what I mean. So again, that doesn't suit me, this colour. So I'm going to undo this. It's a Felix cardigan, which I don't like on me. I'm going to undo that. Again, it's the Aran yarn. And I'm going to dye it with a black dye, which I'm assuming will come out charcoal grey. And I've seen a download. I've downloaded a jumper off Ravelry with Colourwork yoke. If I have enough, I will save some of this to do the colourwork. If not, perhaps I could use some of the pink. We'll see. So that's my aim, is I put a picture of the colourwork to do the colourwork jumper. The other bit of dyeing I want to do is I have, again, some more sweatshirt fabric, which is this mustard yellow orangey colour. And I've had this terracotta brown dye for a few years. So I'm going to try that with that. Not sure if it'll be too orangey, but I'll see. And then that'll open up some brown outfits. I'll just make the plain skirt again. I won't dye all this. I'll cut enough to make the skirt and see how that goes. The black dye I bought new because I didn't have this, but this terracotta brown is one I've had hanging around for ages. So I've got 2 lots of dyeing to do, and I do have to start the Luna Lapin because I've let that go, and I do want to make it for my granddaughter for Christmas. So that needs to get back on my list. Anything else? I think that's it for today. The sun hasn't come back out, so I'm shaded on this side. So thanks for watching, and hope you're doing some nice crafting. Hopefully see you next week. I have got a visitor coming up this weekend, so I should get some chores and some crafting done in the week before she comes. Oh, I did want to show, last thing, I've just seen it here. This snood, one of my daughter-in-laws bought me the yarn years ago, and it's a knitted pattern, but I can't remember where from. I don't remember if it was just a pattern or I worked out the stitch, can't remember. But that goes with the blue skirt and the mohair jumper. The mohair jumper, I couldn't find the pattern. I think it might be on my phone. It's on my Ravelry, which I'll put the name, some ridiculous hyphenated name I put on my Ravelry, I think, or Stitched from Stash, I don't, something like that. So that's a really straightforward jumper. So this goes with that and my blue coat. So I digress again. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves. Enjoy your crafting. I know I do. And see you next week. Bye for now. Bye.